This is an urgent appeal from the Disasters Emergency Committee. Hundreds of thousands of people have fled their homes to escape conflict in Ukraine, leaving jobs, belongings and loved ones behind. They need shelter, food and water. You can help. To donate online, search DEC or text radio to 70150 to give £10. Thank you.
Streaming 24/7, this is Brum Radio.
Thank you for downloading this Brum Radio podcast. For more podcasts, visit brumradio.com.
I'm Dave Massey. I am at a secret location near to the Alexandra Theatre, and I'm here to find out about their production of Guys and Dolls, which is being put on by BMOS Musicals, which is a Birmingham-based musical society. The production's on from the 28th of June until the 2nd of July, and I'm joined by James and Annabelle, who play Sky and Sarah Brown in that production. Good afternoon, guys. How are you today?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me today about this production. You were speaking just a moment ago, James, about the production. You've been in this production, or a version of this production, before. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I have. I actually went to the University of Birmingham, and I was in Guys and Dolls a number of years ago now. I played a completely different part to the one I am now, and obviously when you play a part, you come at it from a different angle, so this time it's a totally different experience and really enjoying it.
Fantastic. Annabelle, are you new to Guys and Dolls? Had you seen it before yourself?
I am new to it and I haven't actually seen it, but I've always loved the show and it's probably my dream role, so I've always wanted to play it, but have never had the chance to do it, so I'm really happy to be doing it.
Fantastic. James, what can you tell us about Guys and Dolls for people that are coming to see it?
So I think it's one of what I would call a classic book musical, and it's renowned, it's world famous. I think you can expect lots of fantastic numbers that are really well known, and a great story as well that has kind of elements of kind of highs and lows, but a lot of humour that the audience will really enjoy.
It's how long do you think this show lasts? Is it a short show or is it a longer show? Do you know?
It's quite a long show, like your classic musical, like 2.5 hours long. But it feels a lot more fast-paced actually, just because of the dialogue. Like James was saying it's snappy and there's a lot of laughs, so it doesn't feel like your classic long musical because it's just so fast-paced.
And BMOS has, I was looking down, it says it was founded in 1886. I was trying to work out how many years ago that was this morning, but I can't add up going back that far as well. I've seen probably about 5 or 6 BMOS productions over the past few years. Had you had any experience with BMOS yourself? Was this your first time with BMOS?
It's not my first time with BMOS. I've been in 3 shows before this. So I played Anne in Half a Sixpence in 2019, and then Emily in A Christmas Carol, and then I was part of a big project which was The Nutcracker, but it was in this big art installation with loads of balloons, so that was really fun. So this is my 4th production with the company.
Wow, that sounds like a crazy version of The Nutcracker. And James, how about yourself?
Yeah, so I've got an interesting history with BMOS. I'm born and bred in Birmingham, and obviously BMOS is kind of part of the DNA of the city, and I was actually in Oliver when I was 9 years old when they did it at the Hippodrome, and then I came back as a teenager and did Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, which was a lot of fun, and then I went away to uni and all sorts of stuff and came back to the city, and I was in Carousel and then Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and now back for Guys and Dolls.
So in the future, do you expect to come back and play the granddads in the productions?
Probably at that stage in my life, but that's a way away just yet.
That's brilliant. I think that having that history with the productions, and particularly BMOS itself, I think it's brilliant to see, because it's a resident at the Alexandra. It's there a couple of times a year. I'm thrilled that I'm going to get to come and see this on stage. I think that it's one of those sorts of classic Hollywood productions. What do you think it is that's going to get people to come and see it?
I mean, the music has already been made famous because it's jazz music, like, Frank Sinatra sang it, and it's kind of your classic golden age musical with all the romanticism of that, but then with a jazzy twist underneath, so you can't help but swing along to the tunes, and they're so catchy. So I'm hoping that will draw people in, and as well, this is BMOS' first time on the Alex stage in two years, so it's just really exciting.
It's a long time to have the production company away from the stage as well. Do you think that has really fueled people's fire for theatre and seeing live theatre?
I would hope so. I mean, it's a passion certainly for everybody in the cast, and probably, obviously I speak for myself, but then probably on behalf of everyone, there's a real fire in your belly as a performer anyway, and when that's pent up for 2 or 3 years without being able to do anything, I think you're going to see BMOS go to a whole new level with this show.
Do you spot people that you know halfway through performances in the audience? Does that happen?
No, I don't tend to. I don't really look for people. I just kind of look up at the lights because I don't like seeing people I know. I prefer to just see it as this big mass and then just focus on my performance.
How about yourself, James?
It's happened once or twice, but completely by accident. I think similar to Annabelle, I tend to just try and focus on giving the best performance I can.
That's wonderful to hear. I'm as I say, I'm thrilled to be coming to see this production. It is on by BMOS Musicals. It's Guys and Dolls, 28th of June until the 2nd of July at the Alexandra. You can find out more about BMOS from their website, which is bmosmusicals.org. You can also find tickets to this from the Alexandra's website, which is atgtickets.com. I have to say that right. atgtickets.com. Check out the Alexandra there and then look for the What's On shows, and you can find Guys and Dolls within that list. I'm Dave Massey. I am still at a secret location just outside of, just not far from the Alexandra Theatre itself. I'm here to speak to the director of Guys and Dolls, which is at the Alexandra from the 28th of June until the 2nd of July. 28th of June until the 2nd of July from BMOS Musicals, which is a Birmingham-based musical company. I'm joined by Stephen. Good afternoon, Stephen. How are you?
Good afternoon. Very well, thank you.
You're the director of this production.
Yes.
How much of a headache is that?
Well, coming out of the pandemic, of course, which I suppose a lot of companies are, we're always been very wary, obviously, of getting going. This show should have been on 2 years ago, so it's been over 2 years in the planning, and luckily we've managed to keep the same cast that wanted to do it all those years ago when we were stopped. So reimagining it has been a joy, because to be back in the theatre and back doing a live show has been everybody's dream, of course. So we were great to get back together and finally do one of the great musicals.
You guys stay pretty true to what is in the books for these musicals. I don't think of a lot of things being, when I've seen different productions, I don't think of a lot of things having been sliced out of the shows. Is that something that you guys consciously do, or is that just my perception of it?
There is a thing called copyright. We're not allowed to do any great alterations. Obviously, one has to tailor a show to the theatre and to the people that you've got in it, especially with an amateur company, because it can really be a much bigger cast than what they would have on Broadway or the West End. So we can tailor the show. But no, the content, the script, and with this show, the script is so clever, and the score is, a classic score. I mean, it won the Tony Award and has been revived many, many times professionally, as well as amateurs doing it. And one's got to remember, it's 72 years old, this show is. It opened in 1950, and it's still as strong, and it's still as funny and as tuneful as it was all those years ago. It's a classic musical. So you revere it. I mean, I'm a great believer in the musical theatre needs to survive, and if you start messing around with it, it won't survive. So we've been very true to the show, but then it's a great show to do. So
that, to me, that adds to the authenticity of the production, in that feeling that you haven't chopped it halfway through the pages and gone, we're not going to do that page, we're going to leave that one. But there's that real feeling of authenticity, seeing that, which I'm really drawn to.
Yes, as I say, well, really, it would completely destroy the piece if you tried to do anything with it. And as I say, you're not really allowed to. You are contravening copyright if you do. So we have to follow it. And don't forget, we get all the stuff sent to us, all the material is sent to us, the scenery is sent to us. So you are sort of bound by those sort of... they're not constraints by any stretch of the imagination, because, this is the 6th time I've directed Guys and Dolls, and each production has been different because you tailor it to the people you've got in. So, you find that some people have got a different way of playing a certain part. And so you mould their character, and then the whole thing becomes a bit of a jigsaw that you fit together. I find when I'm doing a show, if I'm doing it more than once, if it's, as I say, this is the 6th time, I look at it as though it's the first. So therefore, you start with the script, with the score, and with a new set and what have you. And it really is. It's always a joy to revisit a show, and especially a great one.
The Alexandra is part of the world's biggest theatre group and the world's biggest theatre chain, and you guys are the only production company, theatre producing company, that is resident twice a year at the Alexandra in Birmingham. Does that feel curious to you? Does it feel like a responsibility, or is it just a fact? Does it feel like a fact to you?
It is a responsibility. I mean, we started years ago when I first joined this company, which was way back in the mid-90s. We were at the Hippodrome, which is an even bigger theatre. Yeah. So the reputation of the society has always been, a big reputation to actually follow in the footsteps of. Then we had to move from the theatre when it was being renovated and added to in the year 2000. And they do these big productions that stay there for months. Some of these they are in for 2 or 3 months. So it was very difficult to schedule our 1 week show. So the Alexandra asked us if we'd like to go to them quite a few years ago now, and it meant that we could again keep the standard up. Which we have to do. It's a big professional theatre. We are, as you say, the only amateur company that use it. And what I'm very pleased about, and this is for the society, of course, is that we do get people coming up to us saying, "Where are you next week?" They think we're a touring company, which of course is great, because you're actually be compared to the show that was in the previous week or whatever, So. And
as I've said before, my mother says these things. She said, "I wonder if people do think this is going on tour." And hearing people give it that lovely praise, I think that's it must feel really complimentary to you guys when that happens.
It is, and I mean, it's great for the company, because, these are working people, these are people it's a hobby, basically. It's an expensive one, because, I mean, the shows are very expensive to put on. I mean, hundreds of thousands it can go to. And so you have to be as professional as you can. And we do pride ourselves really in the fact that you're going into a professional theatre. So the moment you walk through that door, you are performing as a professional. All right, you don't come away with a wage packet at the end of it, but the standard has got to be there, and for them to want us to come back, and also to ask us, sometimes to do 2 shows a year, which is unheard of sometimes.
I think it's really exciting that you guys are coming back to do this even after this delay. It's a really impressive thing to see, and I can't wait to see this on the stage myself. I'll be there at the press night, writing my words the next day about it as well. You can find Guys and Dolls, details about it at bmosmusicals.org. You can also buy tickets to Guys and Dolls at ATG Tickets. For the Alexandra Theatre in Birmingham. Go to their website, atgtickets.com, click on the Alexandra venue in Birmingham, and then click on what's on, and you'll find Guys and Dolls there from the 28th of June until the 2nd of July with BMOS Musicals. Thank you so much for chatting about it.
Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you for listening to this Brum Radio podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on your podcast app.